Welcome everyone to our October GEGUtah Meetup. We're really excited to have everyone with us today. We've got some fun activities. We've got Kelly who's going to take us through a great little make and take activity that we'll get to here in just a moment. I am going to start out. My name is Ian. I'm going to begin with some announcements. So a couple things that we've got coming up that are really exciting. The first one is Google is going to be sponsoring an event here in Utah in the beginning of November. So there's actually kind of two parts to this. The first event, which I know some of you may be a part of, is really focused on coaches and district leaders. So it kind of in partnership with Granite School District and Ogden School District. And then Google is going to be sponsoring some activities there. So the first one is on November 4th, focused on digital teaching and learning coaches, ed tech coaches, and district leaders and IT admins. Many of you may have seen an email about that come through. If you're not on one of those state lists and you'd like more information, you can reach out to one of us. That event, like I said, there'll be kind of three main groups there. So there'll be some sessions focused on IT admins, Google Admin Council, security, some of those exciting behind the scenes things that make all of our great digital tools work. We've also got a second track that will really be focused on kind of district leadership around educational technology and digital teaching and learning, looking at some of the challenges that we're all facing and trying to problem solve around that. And then the third track will be focused all on digital teaching and learning coaches. So the people who get to work directly with our amazing teachers in Utah, supporting them with the different technology that they use. And so that event is on November 4th. Which is a Friday. And then the second event is focused really designed for teachers, and that's going to be on November 5th. You'll see more information about this coming very soon through our GEGUtah newsletter. But teachers can register for this event. They'll have an opportunity to go through Google's Adaptive Learning Lab, kind of get an experience with a Chromebook and kind of some of the things that you can do with that Chromebook. And then there'll also be some other sessions hosted by some of us, the GEGUtah leaders, and then also a few other coaches, teachers from around the state as well, who will be doing just a couple sessions kind of along with that adaptive learning lab. So again, that information, more of that about that will be coming out here soon in our October GEGUtah newsletter. And so that is actually a really nice segue. I'm going to kind of turn it back over to Matt. Matt is going to take us through our newsletter, which will be coming out here in the next couple days.
Awesome. Thanks, Ian. Appreciate you. So a couple things, folks. We got our brand new newsletter that's going to be coming out actually probably tomorrow morning. So we've got a couple things that are really awesome on here for this month's newsletter. Some new things that we're trying out. We want to get enough information out to you for everyone. So first off, if you haven't seen, we are looking for contributors. So if you are looking for some great ways to get your voice out there, you're doing something amazing in your class, feel free to click this link. It'll take you to a Google form to fill out and allow you to be a contributor to our newsletter, which is super exciting. We have our October meetup, which is happening right now. So you're watching it right now, but you can rewatch it or share it with other teachers through the newsletter as well. Deanna, who will be on the call here in a minute, she did an amazing spotlight on using docs and building blocks in some really cool ways. And so this little link right here will take you to her document that will walk you through her process and some of the amazing things that are happening there. We have a brand new episode at UEN of Get Googly. This one is some new updates to Google Forms for both style and substance, some maybe hot tips for assessments, formative and summative that you might not have known. So check those out as well there. And then also, if you are looking for the sign up for the November event that Ian just talked about, the teacher facing event, that is right there as well. We're just going to put the link right down at the bottom of the page right now for our newsletter. So if you want to check that out early, it's just right there. It's smore.com/9260 and then T. And so you can get in there and start registering for that event right now. We also have the Utah Coalition for Educational Technology, one of our great partners here in the state. Their conference is going to be held on March 14th and 15th in Provo this year. They are open for proposals right now. And so if you click on this link right here in the picture, it'll take you to the presentations, the call for proposals, which closes next Friday, the 28th. So you got a couple days to work on it and get your proposal in. But there's going to be some great stuff there, and we'd love to have some GEGUtah voices there. And the last thing here, folks, is just the Utah Podcasting Roundup. We love our Utah podcasters. We got one great one at UEN with Matt Winters, me, and Danny Sloan. This month, we talked to a couple great ed tech people around the country, as well as a local author. Kara Bettis from USET spoke to Jared Kovili about the history of USET as an organization, and the Utah Teacher Fellows podcast talked to Casey Weaver about advocating for young learners. So if you need some PD on the go, folks, there's nothing better than Utah podcasters as well. So that's our newsletter in a nutshell, folks. It's down there again at the very bottom of your screen. I'll leave it streaming up there for the next couple minutes. smore.com/9260t, or you can go straight to GEGUtah where it's already loaded on our homepage. You can check it out there as well right now. So with that said, Ian, thanks for letting me run through the newsletter a little bit.
All right, awesome. We got some amazing things coming up here in Utah in the next couple months, which is really exciting. So I don't want to take up too much time from Kelly. So that is coming up next. I'll let her come on and really kind of explain what that's going to look like and what she's going to show us how to do. So we're looking forward to it.
Kelly, you are muted. Sorry.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Sorry about that. I didn't realize. Okay. I just want to say before I start that I watched I listened to the USET podcast this morning with Jared and Matt and Kira, and it was funny. I was laughing out loud by myself listening to it. And also it was just really interesting to kind of hear the history of USET. And I didn't know some of the programs that Jared was talking about back in like 2008. So if you want to hear an interesting history of USET, that is definitely a good one to listen to. So anyway, I just want to share kind of a fun make and take that you can have your students of all ages do. So I know it's a little early for poetry, but Halloween is kind of a fun time to use shape poems. And so I made a little presentation. Hopefully I can share my screen. Matt, if you got that. Okay, you got it. Okay, thanks. Okay, so in our presentation, I just put a little example of, well, first me in a skeleton Halloween costume and saying, Happy Halloween. We're doing a Halloween theme. Our make and take marvel is the Halloween shape poems. Okay, so if you forget how to do this or you want some just short instructions to show your students, then this is a good slide to copy. What I would have students do, or I have had students do, is to open up a Google Drawing. Then you're going to find Halloween clip art. And then you're going to make it transparent so that way you're able to type on it. And then you're able to change the font sizes and colors, and you can type words that describe that Halloween clip art. So if you want to look at two examples here, I embedded them in the slides. So the first one I have is a ghost. And this one, I just had a student typing the word white over the top and filling up the whole image. So in a shape poem, you might be able to use more fun adjectives depending on where your students are. I'm thinking in the lower elementary, you might be able to type in spelling words or words you want a student to practice, the same word over and over again, or even the same letter. Maybe you have kindergarten or first graders that need to learn how to type 1 or 2 letters at a time. And so that could be a fun way to do it with the younger grades. And with the upper grades, you could have students work on adjectives. You could have students work on figurative language to describe that object. So also while I'm talking, if the GEG leadership wants to open up a new drawing, you guys can make yours as an example here. Okay, here's a pumpkin one. So I have it really open to whatever makes you happy, or whatever makes your students happy. You can have them do different. So I want everybody who's with us to open up a new Google drawing. Okay, so open up a new drawing, and I'll just kind of walk you through the process really quick. And if you already know what you're doing or have an idea, go ahead and get started. So I'm going to click Insert Image, and I'm going to search the web and type in Halloween clip art. Maybe you have something in mind, like if I want to type ghost clip art or something like that. And I am going to pick one that I like. So maybe I'll just use this first one here and insert the image. And I have to admit, I'm not great at Google Drawings. So this has been fun for me to kind of learn and practice with, because this is something we don't use very often. You know, we have students do slides a lot, or we have students do docs, or even as teachers, we do spreadsheets. So drawings is always a fun kind of different Google tool. So then you're going to click Format Options, Adjustments, and then you can make it transparent so you can have students write on it as an outline. Obviously, you don't want it to be so light they can't see it. So maybe around here, and then I'm going to insert a text box over the whole image. And then I'm just going to tab over until I start thinking of things that I want to write. So like I said, maybe for older students, you could do figurative language, like a simile or a metaphor or something describing what a ghost or Halloween night is like, or something scary and spooky. So just take a minute and do that. And like I said, have students play around with different font sizes and colors as well. Here's some ideas while you're working on this. Ideas for implementation. Like I said, practice doing letters, spelling words, or figurative language, or you could do spooky adjectives. So I'm going to just pause here for a second, and I'm going to give everyone a chance to practice what they're making and give it a try. And maybe in about 2 or 3 minutes, we'll have a share out. I feel like we need some creepy Halloween music in the background. So Matt, if you got any creepy Halloween music for us, maybe just 2 minutes worth so we can share what we have. Yeah, there we go.
I don't know how creepy that is, but you know, we're getting there.
Okay, all right, how are we doing? Maybe 30 more seconds or so? I know these things take a while. You could have students take multiple days improving this or typing in it, but I kind of want to see what you come up with. And Matt, I like the work music. right. Is there anybody who's kind of ready to share what they came up with? Anyone want to volunteer?
Sure, I can. Kelly, I got mine pulled up. So that way, Deanna and Ian, you guys can take another minute and get yours done. So mine is, I went with Frankenstein's monster because I can't think of anything more Halloween oriented than Frankenstein. Although I did look for young Frankenstein because I think that's the best iteration of Frankenstein in the books. So and then I just took the classic picture, Bela Lugosi playing Frankenstein, and I kind of did a twist on it. So like and words repeating themselves. So like brains, learning about others, and so we aren't monsters at the end. So just kind of a fun little like quick poem that has some shape to it. If I had more time, I would probably put another verse in there and like kind of develop the thought a little bit more. But I love the idea of color and like recoloring. So one of the things that I grabbed here is when you do format options, you can do recoloring, and so you can make this like have like kind of cool flavor with different versions, so students can play around with that as well, of like color and shape and font. And then one of my favorite things, I showed this to a couple of teachers yesterday. I found this out like 4 months ago, and I've been waiting for Halloween to share it with people. It's that awesome. There's this font in Google where you click more fonts, and it's called Rubik, Rubik. And Rubik has these really cool font add-ons where it kind of makes things look a little bit interesting and different. So Beasley is one of those cool ones with like spikes coming out of it. But then there's also like Rubik Glitch and Microbe, where you can kind of get these cool different sizes or different shapes of fonts. So I'm just going to make that like huge so you can kind of see it as well. So you can see as it gets bigger, it's really spiky around the side. So I kind of dig it as a font. Anyways, there's mine.
Wow, that is really cool. I see what I'm saying. I don't know enough about Google Drawings, so I feel like that was awesome. I could see students playing with the colors. It might even be fun to do like one picture, but have your students manipulate that one picture and see what they come up with to see how everybody is so different. So thanks for sharing that. I like the zombie brains too. That's perfect for Halloween. Thanks, Matt. Anyone else want to kind of share what they came up with?
I'm ready to go. There we go, Matt. Thank you. So I've got a haunted house, and so far I did not get very far. But I've added some words in for the roof. There's little spikes up there, and there was a fence. My thought was, though, after I kept going, I would probably play around with the colors, have different colors for the different parts of the house. But I'm not there yet.
That's really cool. And I like how you turned the font sideways to show like where the fence is or the roof. I think that'd be really fun for students to try and then do the different colors. But you're right, it does take a while to do these. So if you're looking for a time filler for Halloween day in between parties and parades, here's an idea. I'm thinking elementary. I know you don't have parades in high school, but it's a good Halloween activity.
Yeah. And if Matt wants to, I put the link for mine. If Matt wants to show it, it's just the basic pumpkin, but I used descriptive words and colored them so the kids could use the colors and learn some of the tools that are in a Google Drawing, that they can come up here and they can, when they have the text box here, they can change the color that they want the fonts, and they can change the fonts, and they can make them bigger or larger. But then they also did lines to copy each of the 2 lines so that you can do the copy paste. So they can then copy the line and go down and return and then paste it in, so they can use some of those shortcuts and learn how to use those too along with it. So it was fun, Kelly. I enjoyed this.
That was fun. No, I like how you described
it. This was really fun.
Squishy orange. It makes you want to like squish pumpkin guts.
Oh yeah, exactly. Because that's exactly what I was thinking.
That's like the inside of the pumpkin.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, I love that. And I like being able to teach the kids those tools too, because a lot of them don't know how. And so that's a good way to teach, like with repetition.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then putting space in so that you can see, so that they know what it is that they're doing. So they're working with the tool. So
yeah.
That's fun.
Cool.
Great activity. Love it, Kelly.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking what I love about this is that everybody has these really great ideas of how they see everything so differently, and how, depending on what grade you teach or what your subject is or how you see things, everyone can have a totally different idea to use with it. So thanks for trying it out, guys. The last thing that I wanted to share, Matt, if you will pull up the screen with Eric Kurtz. Sorry, I have my kids here. Okay, so please, Matt, if you'll click on the Googly Halloween activities for Eric Kurtz. And can you tell us a little bit about Eric Kurtz, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. So Eric Kurtz is a kind of national expert, I would say even international expert on Google everything. And he kind of, if you've never seen him present, he's like the Bob Ross of ed tech. He's very soft-spoken, but very good at what he's done, what he does. And so he puts together all of his stuff on this website called Control Alt Achieve. We've sent it out via GEGUtah a couple times. And actually, this is on my list to send out on Friday as kind of our fun activity for the week for our daily share. So if you can't grab this right now, don't worry, we'll remind you later this week. He has some great activities in here, things like build a jack-o'-lantern with slides, a rebus story with Google Docs, emojis, drag and drop poetry, kind of like what we like magnetic poetry, if you've ever seen that before, and Skittles and Google Sheets math activities, which that just sounds amazing. What's great about Eric Kurtz's stuff is that any of these that you click on, so like for instance, if I go back up to the top for the jack-o'-lantern, it takes you to a blog post to show you everything about that activity. He usually has a tutorial video, and then down below he gives you a template. So as you work through, you don't have to create or recreate the wheel. It's all done. They're done for you through Eric Kurtz, which just a fantastic set of resources, particularly for this time of year with Halloween coming up, and students obviously very excited.
Yeah, thanks, Matt. Thanks for jumping in for me for a minute. Okay, I did want to show you the jack-o'-lantern because I thought the jack-o'-lantern was really fun. So if you open that one, he gives you kind of like slides that you can manipulate to make a pumpkin. So you could have your students create their own jack-o'-lantern in Google Slides. And then you can have them write about the pumpkin, and you could have them practice like animating the pumpkin or telling a spooky story. And I feel like that's really fun. Like I could see maybe up to 6th graders really enjoying that. And so I actually emailed Eric Kurtz and I said, hey, can we please show some of your stuff? And he said, oh yeah, like you guys can share or modify whatever you need. And I think that's what I really like about him. He's a good Google innovator and trainer to follow. I'm pretty sure he's from Ohio, and he just has so many cool things on his blog. So if you have time to check it out, Control Alt Achieve. And on Twitter, he's also going to be on our USET newsletter. So this month. So just check him out and see all the cool things he's done if you're looking for more Google ideas. So someone awesome to follow. So anyway, that's all I wanted to share is just those googly Halloween activities and maybe some time fillers that you could have while you're trying to come up with Halloween activities that are still meaningful and focused with technology.
That's awesome, Kelly. I just want to, we have a couple minutes left, and I love these activities. I want to pose a question to the group though. What is your favorite Halloween activity that you've ever done with students? And I'll give you a second to think because I want to hear from everyone in the group. Mine was, I did podcasts with my students the last couple of years I was in the classroom that focused on George Orwell's 1980, or not 1984, not George Orwell, Orson Welles, goodness gracious, War of the Worlds. And so they created their own podcast like that, except about our school and a supernatural story that was going on there. So I had these amazing, fun, weird podcasts about alien invasions at our school and ghosts popping up and all sorts of stuff. And it just ended up being one of my favorite activities that I did during the school year with the kids, especially during Halloween. What about anybody else?
I'll go. So one of the funnest things that I did with my students was they would bring in their own pumpkin, So we'd get some of them that the rule was they had to be able to carry it on their own. So nobody else could carry it in with them. And then we do a whole bunch of pumpkin activities with it to measure them, to see and put them in order and weight and size and all of that stuff. And then we would take and empty out all of the craft boxes and then let them decorate them. So instead of cutting them up and cutting out like a jack-o'-lantern, they got to decorate them. Like they could put the fuzzy hair on them, they could put the clown noses, they could do all the art parts, paint on them, and it was fun. It was a great activity. So that was my share. Who's next?
Oh, sorry, Kelly. So I one of the activities that I had my kids do, it was just a pretty simple write-in activity, but it was just focused on something that was related to kind of that seasonal thing. But we would go through the full process. We'd have them actually map it out, graphic organizers. Oftentimes we would use, I think, if I remember right, we use Google Slides sometimes to do that graphic organizing. And then we'd have them actually do the writing. We'd have them write it on paper first. And we'd have them move toward to get some peer feedback. They would type it up in Google Docs, share it with their partners, do some commenting. And then at the end, we would have them kind of finish it up and submit it.
I like that. I think it's hard to pick one for elementary because it's like elementary is where it's at, for Halloween, even though it's one of the hardest, it's one of the best days of the year. And I can remember like one time we taught a class how to do the Thriller dance, and that was really fun. They performed for the school. Another one that I was thinking of is this year I had students make like square pumpkins. And then they measured the volume of their net, or like their square pumpkin. They folded it up. And then we read a book called The Square Pumpkin. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but the Spookly, I think it is Spookly, The Square Pumpkin. And that was really fun. And then I had them write, first I read them some of those scary stories to tell in the dark books, and we'd like turn off the light and like turn on a flashlight and stand there, and I'd jump out at a kid, and then they had to write their own scary stories. So those are still some of my favorite books to read.
I love it. All three of those, fantastic. And I love, by the way, that it's like I'm with 3 elementary teachers and I'm the secondary teacher. It's fantastic to see that. I love hearing what kind of amazingness that elementary teachers get up to, because I have had that secondary perspective for so long. So very, very cool. Thank you so much for today, folks. We've got about 30 seconds left, but just a couple announcements, reminders. So check out our newsletter. The link to that is just down here at the bottom of our screen right now, smore.com /9260T, or you can just go to GEGUtah's homepage, and it's sitting right there on the homepage as of right now. That will go out via GEGUtah tomorrow. And then look for some Eric Kurtz stuff, the activities on Friday for some Halloween fun. Couple reminders though, this is our last meetup of this calendar year, because in November we're counting the event that Ian talked about at the very beginning for teachers as our November meetup, and then so that's on November 5th, correct, Ian? 5th, yep. So, and check out the sign up for that on our newsletter as well. Share it with other teachers. It's going to be a really fun event for teachers, and you'll see a lot of us there, which is great. And then in December, we won't have a meetup, but we're doing our holiday gift guide again. So be prepared for that. We'll be sending that out starting the first week of December. So we're so excited that you came today, or if you're watching this later, we're so excited you're watching this. Thank you so much for supporting GEGUtah, and feel free to reach out if you need anything from us. Thanks, everyone.
Happy Halloween. Thanks.